These are yards. They can be large or small. Some you can be in, and some you cannot, unless you're deer or wabbits. This is my front yard. This is a close-up of my front yard with my brother in it. This is a snake passing through my front yard. Here's a roadrunner passing through my backyard. Here's my backyard again with my puppies playing in it at sunset. These are my friends, and here's what some of them have to say about yards.
Yards are like just an awful like westernized environmental catastrophe that are like just further the idea of like having your own yard is a very like individualistic neoliberal kind of thing. But I think like as an outdoor space that isn't monetized, like yards have a really important place in society there, because it's really hard to think of an indoor space that you're allowed to be and not pay money to exist there. God was feeling some type of way about this lawn.
He always does. He throws clumps of the lawnmower clippings onto people.
When you just take off your socks and your shoes and you step on the grass, it's beautiful.
I'll just text you. Don't worry about it. Okay. Shoot me.
Would you consider a garden a type of yard?
I would, yeah.
Yeah. It's like using your land in like a productive way rather than just like grass, I guess.
Yeah, like you're just not, you don't have a bunch of space for no reason.
Yeah. I don't love the lawns around here, but it's like nice to have like places to sit sometimes. Like the garden has food, and then there's also like they usually have a section for like pollinators,
Yeah.
for native pollinators.
I like that. A lot of times like yards are very like, in terms of biodiversity, they have pretty much none. There's like, you know, the one species that you plant, but native plants, you know, support a bunch of different local species, and so like it increases biodiversity.
If you really think about it, why do we have yards? Like, really, why?
I feel like then we start getting into the whole statement about, ooh, I have enough money to have a yard. And
Exactly.
like I would say it's easier to maintain, but I don't think it is, because you have to mow it every week, whereas if it was native, you could just like let it grow as much as it wants. So
It's like an aesthetic thing.
Here are some landscapers maintaining a yard very thoroughly. Some people like to keep their yards very clean, and sometimes others don't. Some yards can be pretty messy, and sometimes junk can just be left out in the yard.
Usually a lot of times you'll just see junk on the side of like housing areas or like playgrounds or whatnot, and if it seems like it's been untouched for a long time, that's when I'm like, that's junk. I think the junkyard is very there's many things that goes on in the junkyard, and they vary. Like there's like random like furniture junkyards and stuff like that. This one seems to be more of like scrap metal and recycling. So like we do a lot of like confiscating of things on the side of the road, or like things that are left in buildings unattended. That sounds bad, but like actually there's a lot of things that people are like, no, that's junk, go ahead, have it. Sometimes I feel like I have a junkyard in my yard. Like there's so many things at my parents' house.
And
So-
at the shack too.
Yeah, so I think our house just like already radiate junkyard vibes.
So like the junkyard has a
Has
yard.
a yard. I was thinking about it. I was looking at it. It's very nice. Business up front, drunk in the trunk. Drunk in the trunk.
Some yards like these are for things that don't work anymore, like cars or boats or trailers, or even people who don't work. They can be dead in the yard, or they can live there too.
A graveyard definitely is a yard, because it has it in the name. What do I want to do when I die? I want to be celebrated when I'm dead. Hey, what's up?
How are you experiencing this graveyard right now?
How am I experiencing this graveyard right now?
Yeah.
I'm actually using it to recharge, strangely enough. It's a good spot, personally, to hang out. And it's always nice to walk around and just like read the tombstones. I don't know any of these people. We were just walking around, we did that little path in the back, but it's always just like interesting because I feel like here specifically, I'm never really walking through the same sections of the graveyard, so I'm always walking through like and finding different tombstones that I've never seen before. With like grave markers, like these are like real people and like they lived real lives.
Real people can live parts of their lives in a yard before they spend their afterlives in one. Here's me doing that with my friends.
I love backyards. I think they're a really wonderful green space that just allows you to kind of recreate and kind of be outside and enjoy nature. And I think there's a lot of opportunities of having backyards. There's a lot that you can do. Like we have fireplaces to enjoy the outdoors. We have things like set up like slack lines. We have hammocks set up.
It's certainly a privilege and a blessing to have a backyard, and not everyone in the world does have access to them, but it's a really nice to have this green space where you can reconnect with nature, and I hope it becomes more accessible.
Just to keep thinking about the potential downsides of yards, it's just the monoculture of grass that so many people have, and it really does take away from a lot of biodiversity. So
Everyone's yard just looked like this, just totally
unmanaged.
unmanaged.
Well, this one could be managed in a way that improves the biodiversity.
So I think just yards in general can be pretty good. Maybe not necessarily lawns are the best.
They're really fun to hang out and play in.
What a yard really is, and the reason why we really have yards, are all ideas that are really up to the yard to tell you.